This is TJ with Tech Made Easy. Welcome to the channel. My channel is all about making things affordable, practical, and easy. Today I'm doing a really short video. I just created a video on COCKPIT and what COCKPIT was, but just so you know, if you haven't seen that video, COCKPIT is a web interface to your server. Right now I'm running an Ubuntu server, but it allows me to access that server from my local Windows desktop here that we're looking at right now. So COCKPIT allows me to access the server. Here's my CPU, so on and so forth. I don't want to go over too much here. I'm going to leave a link below on the video I just created on COCKPIT so that you can be familiar with it. But COCKPIT comes with several modules that you can install. One of those modules is ZFS. And so what I want to do here is one of the things I couldn't do in that video is I couldn't show file sharing. I hadn't set it up right, so I couldn't get it working for that video. And then after I uploaded the video, the very next day I figured out what I had done wrong, and so now I'm going to show you setting up a Samba share through what they call file share in COCKPIT. And we're going to do that on a ZFS pool. It doesn't have to be on a ZFS pool. It can be on any, just like Samba, you can put it on any folder on your Linux server. But I created this, and before in the other presentation I had created this mstore pool, and what this is 5 drives that we created a pool with to give us 20 terabytes. But what I'm going to do, and then we shared this pool with Samba, but we had to share it manually. And what I'll mean by that, I'll show you here in a minute. So we're going to share a pool here with this npool. The reason why I call it npool is because this is an NVMe drive, and I went ahead and formatted it as a ZFS format, and so we're going to share that file. So what I did before is, these are some of the modules that you have: virtual machine, Podman. One of them is Navigator here, and this allows you to edit files and folders and copy files from your server. Easy GUI to do that with. So that's what I mean. It has all these modules. And I'd really recommend that you watch my other video where I go through these modules in more detail and the links on how to install them. But one of the things we're going to do, and we're going to put a link below on how to install file sharing and entities. Entities is where you can manage your users and groups. You can create users in here. When you create a user, you can also assign the different groups here. You can give Samba password in here, so on and so forth. I'm not going to spend a lot of time in here, but this is how you can manage your users on your server, is through entities. And so what I'm going to do here, we're going to go to file sharing, and this file sharing, the reason why I didn't get it to work is before you create a Samba share in file sharing, there's one thing you have to do, and see how these fields are populated. What populates those is, before you can share anything, all this is empty here, you have to say import configuration from the Samba config file. I must have hit one of these other buttons and not this one, so this is the long gray button. And before, when I did the demonstration, we actually just edited this Samba file, and I showed how to create a really simple share that is this mstore share on that Z pool. Well, now that I figured out my mistake, I'm going to show you how to set up a simple share using this file share interface. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to hit this plus button, and we're going to put in our share name here, and I'm just going to name it the same pool name that our ZFS pool is that we created, and I just call it npool. So I'm just going to name that share here. I can name the share anything I wanted, though. It doesn't have to be the name of the pool directory. And then we put in our directory here, and we're putting npool. Now, one thing I will say about this, if I put in a file here, say test, see how it says it doesn't exist? Well, it will create it, and then that's where my share would be, is on that test folder. But we're not doing that. We're just going to put it here. And then you can edit the permissions here, and I'm giving it all these permissions because this is just going to be, we're not going to assign a user name or password to this folder here. And a lot of times, a lot of my users are home users, and so I try to figure out the easiest way for them to do stuff. And so we're just going to make this as a guest, and we're just going to hit confirm. And we don't have to assign any users here when we're doing this. We just go ahead and hit confirm, and now it's created our end pool Samba share. And so now all we have to do is we just go to our browser here. We put in our IP address of our server, which is the IP address that's up here in my cockpit. It's 192.168.1.173, and in cockpit, when you launch cockpit, then you do a colon and then 9090 will then launch cockpit from your server. So now on my Windows desktop, though, I want to have access to that new Samba share that we created. So I'm just going to put that here, and here is our end pool. We'll click on it. I already was messing around putting some files in here, so we'll just put another folder in here, and let's just call it temp, and then we can create documents in here, so on, for just like a regular share. So again, this is just going to be a quick demo on this. One thing I will say though is that, so there we have our share on our Windows, and these both identities and file share were created by 45 Drive, and I'm going to put a link also to one of their videos that goes over the identities and file sharing as well. But I just wanted to show a simple way of how to create a pool for anyone to access in your home using Cockpit on your file server. And again, this is running on Ubuntu, and now even though if we go to the overview here, it says Linux Mint, because I use Linux Mint. Linux Mint's base is Ubuntu, so I can use that as an Ubuntu server. And if I go here to file sharing, in my description, this says that it's a Samba Ubuntu. So anyway, I hope that was helpful. Again, I'm going to have the links on how to install file sharing module, the identity module, and a link to my other video that went over Cockpit in a little bit more detail. And just so you know, these are not all the modules that you can get on Cockpit for managing your server. There, I just did a few that I like for my personal server, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot more to Cockpit than what I'm showing here. But at any rate, I'll have descriptions and links below. Thanks for coming to the channel. This is TJ with Tech Made Easy. Have a great day. Thanks.
Now that was easy peasy.